Something I learned about Paul is it's really good when he goes back for seconds, not so good when he takes his fork and taps on the edge of your cake because it is so rock hard that it's making like a loud noise. Welcome back. It's back to school week on the Great British Baking Show or Bake Off. I never know what to call it, but you know what I'm talking about. Their theme was back to school this week, and I thought that was just so fun. I don't remember ever seeing this theme before. Question: would you want to go back to school? For me, no. I mean, there were some fun parts for sure, but mostly it was just like a super awkward, uncomfortable time. So, no thanks. And I'm curious what some nostalgic foods are for you. For me, I would say sloppy joes for sure. And then also, there was this really crappy little brownie that I would get every time I got to school. This was when I was in high school. I would go to the vending machine and get this really crappy brownie. So those would be my throwback foods: a shitty brownie and sloppy joes. I learned two new words on this episode: flapjack and fete. More on that later. But I loved how this theme was back to school, and yet some of the bakers used a lot of booze in their recipes. I'm like, what are you doing, Britain? Natalia and Jessica come to mind because they had some pretty boozy bakes. Before we get into it, if you haven't seen this episode, I am going to spoil it for you in about 30 seconds. So if you haven't watched it, head over and watch it and then come back unless you want me to ruin it for you. Can I just say that Jasmine is crushing it? She got Star Baker again, so that's back-to-back Star Bakers for her, and she pretty much just like killed it in every challenge this week. Like, how are you this good? You know who she's reminding me of is Raul. Remember Raul back from season 6? He was kind of the same way, where it's like every week it was just banger after banger and he was just crushing it. And he ended up winning it. So we'll see what happens with Jasmine. No pressure. Unfortunately, we say bye to Jessica this week. She just really did not have a good week. And it sucks because the people who go home, it's not like they're bad bakers. They're all good bakers. You can just have one or two bad days in the tent and then you're out. And it's harder and harder to see people go because it's like seeing your friends go because they are my friends. God. That's sad. Signature challenge was their spin on a flapjack. First off, what is a British flapjack? Okay, so it's basically like a granola bar with some stuff on it, right? A couple of my favorites were Toby's. His was like a carrot cake-ish one, but I really liked how it looked because it was just very neat in these triangles, and it tasted really good too. Although apparently he used a little bit too much cinnamon. And Jasmine's also was really good, of course. Hers was a chocolate raspberry hazelnut flapjack that the judges really liked. I also liked how Tom tried something different. His flavor was apple crumble, but he almost made it look like a little entremet looking thing that looked like an apple. It didn't turn out exactly the way he wanted it to, but the judges, I think, appreciated the flavors and they appreciated that he tried to do something a little different. And also, I don't know if you caught it this week with Tom's innuendos about Paul. I don't know if Paul appreciates being sexualized on this show, but it seems like Tom might have a little bit of a crush on him. Aaron also did really good, and I was like, oh my gosh, is Aaron like doing good now? It just seems like he's been kind of fumbling up until now, but the judges loved this one, especially Paul. Paul said that it was a triumph, but there was no handshake. I was just waiting for the handshake, and maybe Aaron was too, but nothing. What are the requirements for a handshake? What do we have to do to get a handshake? I would think that something that was flawless, like Aaron's, would get one, but. And what did you think of that somewhat cringy moment when Ian like jumped the fence and was playing outside? First off, I was super impressed that he could just hop over that fence, but I think he's pretty short, so maybe it's easier for shorter people. But he was just out there playing, like asking people to come play with him, and no one played with him. Just kind of awkward. The technical this week actually seemed pretty easy. It was called a school cake, which apparently is classic in Britain. I had never heard of it, but it's basically like a vanilla sponge tray bake with icing and sprinkles on the top. Like pretty simple. But they made it harder by taking away their equipment so they couldn't use any mixers or anything. And they had to make the sprinkles by hand from scratch. I actually tried this recipe. Check the show notes for my link to the video. And at first I was like, I'm not making homemade sprinkles. But then I was like, yes, I'm going to make homemade sprinkles. I'm glad I did it, checked it off the list. I want it to leave my brain ASAP because it is a completely useless skill. They sell them at the store. But what I didn't do was not use equipment. I was just like, I am not creaming butter and sugar by hand. Also, the icing, my KitchenAid was having a hard time with this icing. It was so freaking thick. I cannot imagine trying to do that by hand. So no. Something I learned about Paul on the technical is it's really good when he goes back for seconds, like he did with Jasmine. She ended up winning it. Not so good when he takes his fork and taps on the edge of your cake because it is so rock hard that it's making like a loud noise, which was Nadia's and she was at the bottom. Going into the showstopper, I thought, of course, Jasmine was at the top because she was crushing it. Aaron, too, because he got second in the technical and also did really good on his SIG. I was like, oh my God, maybe this is the week that Aaron gets Star Baker. And then Toby also was doing good. So I thought it was between those three. I was worried about Nadia because her signature with that chocolate that didn't set didn't do good. Of course, bottom on the technical. And then Natalia as well. So she, if you remember from the first episode, she got Star Baker. Like she just came out and was like crushing it with that. Do you remember that landscape cake that she made? But I just wonder if that's a bad thing to come out so good so fast, because once you start not doing good, people are like, ugh, like it's just more obvious because people expect you to be perfect every time. And then Jessica also, she struggled with her signature bake and didn't do so good in the technical either. But you know who I want to see crush it is Leslie. I feel like she's been kind of like middling, and I think I just have this feeling that she's a really, really good baker. I mean, all of them are good, but I just feel like she's got something in there that we just haven't seen yet. So hopefully soon. The showstopper fete display seemed really challenging. First off, what is a British fete? Thank God for Google. Oh, so it's like a fair or a festival. Got it. Okay, so it's a fair. I don't think Natalia and Ian really understood the assignment. Natalia made a bag, like a handbag looking thing, and then Ian made a computer for a festival. I don't get the association there. Are they not able to ask what a fete is? Or they had to demonstrate at least 3 different baking techniques in just 4.5 hours, which does not seem like enough time. Remember that technical bake, the school cake that was super easy? Yeah, that took me most of Saturday. And I had power equipment. But I did like watching them do this challenge because they just seemed to be having fun with it, because it was throwback and it was like reminding them when they were kids. It was kind of fun seeing a few people do the same thing. Apparently, there's this popular hook a duck game, and a few of them did their own spins on that. We've got Toby's, Jasmine's, and Tom's. There were a couple risk takers with this challenge. Like Aaron decided to do a huge macaron instead of a cake or something, which I don't know if you've ever tried a macaron. They are a pain in the ass, like the regular ones. I can't imagine a big one. And then Nadia decided to make 4 things instead of 3. So I don't know if Aaron was just trying to push it because he wanted to get Star Baker. I mean, probably, I feel like they all are. And I wonder if Nadia wasn't pushing it just because she didn't do good in the first 2 challenges. Tom's science fair stall turned out really good. And honestly, you can never go wrong with a red velvet cake. Yum. Jasmine's turned out so cute, and it was really interactive, which I think the judges liked. And they did like her flavors, although they said it was kind of fake, but maybe that's a good thing considering it was a back to school challenge. You know how kids don't like strawberry, but they like the strawberry fake flavor? They really like Toby's too, but apparently not enough for Star Baker because, Jasmine. This was definitely Toby's best week by far, which was fun to see. Although, Toby, I have a couple questions for you. First off, you mentioned your favorite meal as a kid was a chicken and instant noodle sandwich. Like, what I'm imagining is like 2 packets of those instant noodles with like chicken in the middle. It sounds weird and gross, but also maybe something a kid would like. And I learned that Toby's lactose intolerant. Like, how does that work as a baker? I need to know. Are you just going to the bathroom every 2 seconds? Are you tasting things and then spitting it out? Like, how does that work? Aaron's flavors were pretty good, but not so great with the presentation. With that huge macaron, it just didn't really come out that well. So no Star Baker for Aaron. Both Natalia and Nadia saved themselves with their showstoppers, but unfortunately Jessica's just didn't come together. Her flavors weren't good. Paul was especially harsh on her flavors. And then especially her dinosaur, I think it was like a triceratops, just looked kind of sad sitting there. And she was struggling during that challenge too. Things just were not happening for her. When she was standing there in front of the judges, she honestly just looked tired and defeated, and I think that she knew. Overall, this was a super fun episode. I liked how throwback it was, even though I didn't understand like what they were talking about. It was still fun to watch. And something else I really love about this show is when people get eliminated, they're not like jerks about it. In some other baking shows, someone will get eliminated and they literally just like leave. Like they just walk off set and they're gone. Here, because everyone, it seems, gets so close that they're still like gracious and just really grateful that they got to be there and just excited for their friends that are still in the tent. It's nice to see. Super excited for next week, which is chocolate week. I just wonder how freaking hot it's going to be in the tent this time. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel and I will see you next time.